Right, I'm going to do the sunset with the branch, and I'm going to wet the back of the paper so that my paper will stay damper for longer. I'm going to turn it over. You can see where it's shining, where you've missed it. Hi, I'm Sheena Phillips, and I'm just going to make sure my paper's nice and wet before we put on the first washes. This is the sunset with the twigs coming down from the tree, from the branches. Right, going to have the sun not quite central. I'll have a twig coming down here, the branches hanging down, and I'm going to use the mix that I've just prepared in the last lesson, which was using yellows, ultramarine and crimson. My yellows were lemon yellow, cadmium yellow and raw sienna. So in the last one I showed you how to mix up just a variety of colours. Don't want too much blue in fact I don't want any blue in at this stage. Just sort of seeing what I've got. I'll add some water. This is really wet, so I'm just going to go over it. I've got the paper flat just now, and we'll gradually, I'll just add a bit more yellow here. Now, because I've covered over the sun, and I've got a few streaks, I can let it just finish off what's on my brush. And I've got a cloth here to blot my brush on, and I'm going to pick out, just turning it round, blotting my brush, and pick out the sun. I'm going to clean it and blot it again. I'm doing this demonstration again because I didn't manage to get it videoed when I did it in the class. So let's see how much white I want to take out. I think that's okay. This is still shining wet, so I know that I've just got to leave it a minute, which gives me time to mix up some slightly duller yellow, and I'm going to use the raw sienna for that. In fact, now this mixture, I've not added more water into it, I've had a dry brush, so it's thicker than what I'd already put down. And I'm just going to go in, you see it's still a bit wet, but as long as I don't take it right into the centre, we'll just, right, I'm just going to put little hints of that in just to strengthen up the glow of yellow in the sky. I'm now going to keep some of that yellow out and bring some red in. Let's see what that does. That's quite a bit orangier, and that's more up at the top of the sky. Still I've not, oh sorry, nearly didn't show you then. I've been taking the raw sienna and the crimson and putting it in up in the sky, and because it's so wet I'm going to lift up my painting and let it meld together in a minute. I'm going to turn this into slightly bluer spray, bring in some of the red. It's still going quite brown. Maybe just put touches in here. I couldn't do this on the easel because you can't get it to sort of meld in and spread out. Thicker and thicker paint. I'm going to go in and get this. I might though clean my brush and see what colour have I got there. Maybe still too much, it's still on the green side. So I'll bring in some of the red. Keep it away from this bit that I'm mixing. Do I like that? No. So I'll just start again. Take away some of this yellow. So you've just got to, if it doesn't work, you're only losing a little bit of paint. So I'm going to use the blue and take it into the brown. And I think that'll give me a less brown mixture because it's not got so much yellow in it. And it's still sopping wet, so I can go in. It's actually picking water up off the page. So I'm going to mix up, actually, when I look at it, I could make it a bit thicker. Let's see what that looks like. Comes in, it's still very wet. Let's see. And because each time my brush is picking up some of the wetness on the paper, I really don't have to add in any more water at all to make up the mixture. But it's definitely getting a bit thicker. Let's see what that's like. Let's go. I could have made up, I don't want to make a puddle of this though, because I'll end up with it being too runny. So I'm just going to go in there. And I'm trying to resist worrying about the fact that it looks too dark. Now, that bit, I can either spray it or I can just lay a clean damp brush on it and just soften it off a little bit and then go in at the other side where it's soft. Let's see if I can get this. Right, I'm going to clean it again and start mixing a new batch, quite blue, touch of red into it because there's a lot of yellow down here and the yellow will take the purpliness away from the mixture, this red and blue mixture. Going into, and it's starting to dry off now, so I am having to really think about how long I'll be able to paint into this. I'm wanting just a wee bit more yellow in that, a bit more red. I want to get a wee bit browner as I come in here. See, these are all these marks created with it being so wet. I could do is tip it sideways and let it run, but I do want to get down. I'm going to mix up a stronger mixture. And this comes with letting it dry. Let's see the blue, right, and let's come in here. Let's go back. Getting it a bit darker, it'll dry lighter, so I'm just going to have have light showing behind here, and I'm going to have a very, very low horizon at this rate. There are lights. What I can do, you can remember now, here's a clean brush. I can pick out light. I don't want to do too much. Right, and a little bit. I wonder what happens. I'm always wondering what happens, and I think I probably know. This is quite thick paint, so if I go in there with yellow, now I'm going to get yellow behind, and now I can lift the horizon a bit. So sometimes things might not go to the plan that you had. Dry my brush again, but you can change them. I'm just going to leave that at that and blow on it to dry it, I think. There's little bits, you know, just going to leave it. Now, the trees, I'm going to, so let's see, I'll take one of these brushes. I used a sponge in the demonstration in the class, but I'll show you something else. This is a brush, it's quite soft, and I'm going to splay out and pick up some of the thicker paint, the colour. It's a sort of orangey colour I'm making up. Splay it out again in case it's too thick. And I'm just going to pop in roughly where I want the trees to be. It really wasn't quite thick enough. Let's see. I just want it to be really thick. Maybe have it quite red as well. And let's see. You see that, how much thicker this mixture is that I'm now putting in. And give me an idea where things were though. Let's put in a bit of a tree. And then, see, I'm picking up some of this water that's there. And you know what I'm going to do? Rather than get the hairdryer out, I'm just going to take off any excess water. But at least I've got the sky now going behind the trees. And we'll, do you know, I'm going to put out some more ultramarine because that's just not, it must have dried on too much. Didn't think it would dry so much in one day. But if you're using pans, you sometimes have to add in an even darker colour. And I sometimes add in an even darker colour like indigo or even black, Payne's grey, whatever you... Right, I've got that is thick. And I'm just going to quickly put this on because it could take quite a... I'm going to add a little bit of yellow into that to make it browny. And it doesn't do your brushes any good doing this particular, but it's not unfortunately a very good brush. You can see I've had it quite a long time. It's got no point left. And let's see, you don't have to finish the edge. I just thought it would look better having a... Now, it should be drier up here, so I could pop in. One of the class explained why you get this red effect coming through the trees when you take it with a camera, but do you know, I actually quite like it as the soft, so I'm going to leave it at that. and I'm not going to be able to put the branch in just now because this is just far too wet. So we'll leave it at that, and then you could probably do that yourself. Right, see you on Friday. Bye-bye.